What's up, guys? A little past 9 a.m. Tuesday, October 30th. Looking at the Dixie. Start us off. We are back up into this supply zone that formed back in May of 2017. So the first time we visited it, had a nice sell-off. We reacted nicely to it here, and now we're back up in it again. With the U.S. midterm elections coming up next week, we could just see the dollar traverse sideways until then, before making a definitive move one way or the other. So that's kind of how I'm viewing it at this moment. Not much of a play on the dollar until we see the results of the elections. So we'll move on over to the S&P, which also could be doing the same thing as the dollar until the elections. Saw yesterday we had this nice gap up rally, and we just sold off all day until the last 15 minutes, which is when we saw this big engulfing candle. And then today we've just been bought up, but we went right into this little supply zone that I drew in here. I usually don't mark anything out on anything less than an hourly chart, but I just thought this was interesting from a day trading perspective. Provides a nice selling opportunity, and we are reacting perfectly off of it. When you see a big move up like this with no bases in the middle, provides a large profit target. Could try and run it back down to the lows. I'm not interested in doing that. I don't trade these time frames. I just thought it was something interesting. But we did almost come down and tag this demand zone that I was talking about yesterday. I still do think that we will get down there again. And if we don't, we did come awfully close to hitting it. 10 ticks or so, if that. So we could see a rally in the S&P. I do think this supply zone up here looks nice to sell from. If we rally back up into there. This is kind of all chop in here. Not very clean. But once again, with the midterm elections, could just see this chop sideways in here for a little bit. We'll see how it plays out. Get over to the FX pairs. Australian dollar, Canadian dollar, I was stopped out of this morning. See, I got my entry here off this supply zone. We sold off, but then we just found bids again. We did nothing but rally up through my stop. So there's that. Move over to the CAD yen. Hasn't moved much since my entry. We've just been kind of consolidating here. You can see it's just back and forth in this little zone. I am expecting the yen to strengthen, especially with the U.S. midterm elections. Some risk-off sentiment could be good for this trade, as well as my pound yen trade. Back out to the 4-hour. Let's move over to the euro pound. See, we've come awfully close to stopping out on this one as well. Daily perspective. Could see this thing roll over. I mean, these this buying isn't anything. We don't see any big buying candles such as this one or this one. There's not a whole lot of momentum here. So as long as we don't just trickle on up and poke my stop, I'm fine. But we'll have to wait and see how this one goes. This is usually a tricky pair to trade. But I decided to give it a go anyway. So we're going to keep an eye on that one. Pound Aussie. This one has worked out pretty well for me since my entry here. We fell, formed this little base supply zone, and now that we've moved to a 3-to-1 risk reward, my stops have not been moved to a full 1-to-1, which would be down here somewhere. It's tucked up in here, right above this supply zone, which I can draw on now. So there's that. Currently about 270 pips in profit. Again, looking to run it down for almost 600 pips, which sounds like a lot, but this pair tends to move. I don't know what the ATR is on it. I don't have ATR in my charts, but I believe this is one of the higher ATR pairs at the moment. Pretty volatile. Once again, I'm looking for this swing low to break, and then maybe a pullback into this old demand zone here before flushing down to my target. Could be looking out for a demand zone in here possibly. Something that looks like that. Could find bids in here, but I think this swing low is where we should be focused on. And that sell-off is just continuing. I like it. This demand zone is donezo. So this one's looking pretty good. Let's go over to the pound yen. I got too much crap on this chart. What's up, Savannah? It's my girl. I know she watches these videos. My #1 supporter. You stop it, not me. Alright. Anyway. This pound yen, seen it kind of just traverse sideways in here. Let's get that off of there. I can kind of just visualize that. My chart's getting a little cluttered here. Get that off. I don't like having too much on my 1 hour charts, just because it clutters up the view from the higher time frames, which is what I'm more concerned with. I will go in here and just draw stuff like that from time to time though, because I mean this trend line does look semi-important, and if you trade trend lines, I mean you see the 3 touches, and then this would be a trend line break, retest. Something that you guys could play. Hopefully we continue to roll over. More downside coming, hopefully, on the pound yen. My stop's still tucked up here. And I think that's all I have this morning. I will keep posting updates as they come throughout the week. But for now, it's about all I have. Go back and take one last look at the S&P, back to that lower time frame, and see if that supply zone's doing. We're still consolidating off of it. deciding where we want to go. It is a pretty nice supply zone. I'd say if that was on a larger time frame, that'd be a perfect supply zone, and I definitely would expect prices to roll over. But as you guys know, the lower time frames aren't as significant as the higher time frames. So we'll see. But that is a play that you can look out for today. Alright. I believe that's all I'm going to do for now. Peace, guys. Have a good trading week.